Hello, my name is Gerben de Vries and welcome to Conscious Yes. I'd like to talk about depression. There are a lot of people depressed. In the United States, I read there's 25 million people on antidepressants. And that's just the people that are on those clinical drugs, on the SSRIs. And it's going to be much more that are actually depressed than that number. So depression has a lot to do, and I like to include spiritual depression. Spiritual depression is, I would say, perhaps a result of following this spiritual path, right? Of telling the truth. Because we find a lot of hypocrisy, inconsistencies, illogical, irrational things in our day-to-day functioning, in the functioning of the world. We see the limits, we see the problem of imaginary time, of psychological time. And much of our so-called happiness is the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness is this idea of having something tomorrow, right? Having something later. And that gives me a feeling of pleasure, of enjoyment. It's not really enjoyment. It's a feeling of, it's a mental enjoyment, a mental happiness. And we're constantly being promised happiness, right? The promise of happiness is everywhere. If you do this, then a better tomorrow. And psychological time, imaginary time, is one of the first things that in spirituality gets talked about, right? There's the power of now with Eckhart Tolle. That's the being in the present, the power of now. The meditation to anchor, so to speak oneself in the present moment. We learn about these concepts of the tomorrow and yesterday. But much, if not all, of our happiness depends on hope. That's why depression is often associated to no hope, no hope for tomorrow. And it's, especially for a lot of young folks out there, like myself, there's very little promise for tomorrow right now. Economically, it's very difficult in the way of jobs. Yeah? Monetary systems are falling left and right. So the promise that we used to, the promise of the middle class, like that living of the standard of living being pretty high, is crumbling underneath the feet of a lot of people. It really is, factually, the middle class is disappearing, is being squeezed out. For the Western few, the Western 2 billion people that are in middle class. So hope is disappearing. People are out in the street protesting and occupying against the status quo, the current way of the monetary systems, the banking. Politicians are being more and more seen for what they are. The lying hypocrites that are completely pushing different agendas than what they promised it to do. And then there's the people that stay in the bubble, that want to stay in the bubble of promises, the bubble of entertainment, the bubble of food, of bad food, right? Sugary, high fructose corn food, of this. We want to stay in that illusion that's being sold to us, the illusion of success, of having your speedboat, or having your a 5-bedroom house and having your TV with all your app programs and your 6-figure income and your, the bubble of what it means to be a happy person, successful person, and believing the ideas of politics, the geopolitics, believing what's being said on TV. I went into belief how that's that hook out there that will leave for these politicians and media and schools and everything to tear us from left to right. There's this hook that we leave out there because a lot of people, they want to believe. It makes them feel, it makes people feel like there's a purpose to life, like they're doing something actual, that they're progressing. Yeah? We want to be kept busy, right? This is again what the ego feeds on. It wants to have that feeling of getting things accomplished. And for a lot of people, productivity is God, right? If I get things done, I feel like I'm going somewhere. It's progress. Mental progress. Which means adding to myself, right? Adding to my personality. I'm gonna have more money tomorrow. So that illusion, that inflation, that baloney story that we're being sold, a lot of people are completely content living in that imaginary prison, thinking we're free. So that's the key. Thinking we're free. Believing, because we're being told so and we accept that. We like to believe. Thinking we're free. In the imaginary cage, right? And if you tell the truth, it's one of the first things that you come up against, is your belief systems. So people want to stay in that bubble. And for those that are smarter, where actually that bubble is slowly burning its fuel. It's running on the fumes, right? The bubble is slowly bursting because it cannot be sustained. It's an illusion. The world cannot sustain so many people living that sort of lifestyle. And the way of food, housing, we all know that, right? The resources on this planet. So it's burning up. And so a lot of people, the bubble is slowly getting burst. The social welfare state, it's like this whole economic system, it cannot sustain. This Keynesian economic system that is based on inflation and debt, it cannot be sustained, right? So it has to pop at one point, or it has to come to this slow grinding halt. And for a lot of people, it's too sobering, The people that want to stay in that bubble so badly, they want to stay in this illusion of this dreamlike state of what life could be. They're constantly wanting to be happy. So there's all sorts of things to fill the gap of unhappiness, really, right? We're sorrow, we're miserable, and then there's society, that bubble, selling this dream state world. Of entertainment, of food and drugs, to stay in that extreme of not dealing with facts. But of course, eventually, everybody has to face themselves, face the truth. Eventually, we have to carry our load, right? Carry the world. And face facts. Meet the truth. And We can postpone it as long as we want to, until we can't, until the truth finds us, until until we're no longer left with the option of running away. Everything has to come to an end eventually, right? Everything. And really in that, I think for the, let's say, more enlightened people, there's a joy in it. There's a joy of death. Because death is not what we think it is in general. I'll go into death in another video, but the dying of ideas is, for a lot of people, feels like actual dying. It feels like there's a complete loss. The loss of the ego, the loss of ideas, for a lot of people feels like actual death in the body, you know? And therefore, a lot of people are getting depressed. The bubble is dying the bubble is bursting on the outside. The juice of the bubble is up. Like I said, gasoline that filled the bubble is getting too expensive. It's running on its last fumes. So when the picture runs out, the picture that's keeping us hypnotized, we're going to feel very depressed. No more hope, no more illusions, no more daydreaming, no more, all that. We're being forced to face facts, to carry the load. We've had our run, we've had our fun. We've had our night out getting completely pissed drunk. And then it's time to wake up and have a little bit of a hangover, right? Find your floor littered with bottles. Find 10 dirty glasses sitting on your coffee table. Puke all over the couch. Too many people in a small room, right? Stuff like that, right? So depression is going to come up. It's just the loss of hope. It's feeling the withdrawal, feeling the sorrow of the world, carrying our load. And if you can sit with it, or have it be induced by yourself. This is spirituality as well. It's an inducing of induction of reality. Going through the withdrawals right now by choice, basically saying, okay, I feel like I'm mature enough. I want to see what's real. Show me. And that attitude is much better, right? Much better to do it that way than have it come to you not by choice and overwhelm you because you're not ready. Then the governments will come up with antidepressants that are extremely dangerous, in my opinion. Extremely dangerous. Not wanting to face facts, right? We keep postponing. And through the SSRIs, the movie that is being played to us, that is hypnotizing us, is going to keep on going for a lot of people. I think it's extremely dangerous. Little kids on these drugs, Ritalin. So, but can we face the facts? Can we be okay with this depression? And if you're not, you're not. You know, really, it's just whatever is in the body. All this, the history of humankind will come up, right? To feel the withdrawal of the addiction. When you come out of the addiction, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel so much more enriched. So spirituality, in a way, is that inducing of what is really going on, you know, because you're grown up enough, mature enough to say, okay, show me my mistakes. I'd like to wake up, please. This has been fun, but being constantly drunk and having parties, you know, it gets boring after a while, right?